Let's take a look at the lesson, Subtract Fractions. The first problem says, Emily is sewing a shirt. If she starts with 4/5 yards of fabric and she is left with 2/5 yards of fabric after making the shirt, how much fabric did Emily use on the shirt? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So if she starts with 4/5 and she ends up with 2/5, we can subtract those 2/5 to find out how much she used. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And our fifths stay the same because if we have 4/5 and we take away 2 of those fifths, we'll still have 2/5 left. So 2/5 of a yard. A cake recipe calls for baking soda. If a baker has 2/4 cup of baking soda before making the cake and 1/4 cup of baking soda after making the cake, how much baking soda did the baker use in the cake? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So if they have 2/4 cup and they end up with 1/4 at the end, we can subtract that 1/4 to find out how much they used. So 2/4 minus 1/4 would just be 1/4. So they used 1/4. Natalie has 4/5 of an hour before her friends come over for dinner. She makes dinner and notices that there is now 3/5 of an hour before her friends arrive. How long did Natalie spend preparing dinner? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So if at first she had 4/5 of an hour, and then when she looked, she then only had 3/5 of an hour, we can subtract those 3/5 to find out how much time passed. 4 minus 3 is 1, and our fifth stays the same. So 1/5 of an hour. Austin began his pizza delivery route with 4/6 of a tank of gas in his car. When he made it back to the pizzeria, 1/6 of a tank of gas was left. How much gas did Austin use? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So we'll have 4/6 minus 1/6 to see how much was used. 4/6 minus 1/6. So if we have 4 minus 1, that is 3. So 3/6. Remember, we can divide the top and bottom of a fraction by the same number to reduce the fraction. So we can divide the top and bottom by 3. And remember, we need to divide the top by the same number we're dividing the bottom by, because it is essentially like dividing this number by 1, which doesn't change the value of the number. It just changes how it is shown. So here it is shown as 3/6. Now 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1, and 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. So 3/6 can also be shown as 1/2. Hannah has a glass that is 2/3 full of orange juice. After she takes a sip of the orange juice, the glass is 1/3 full. How much orange juice did Hannah drink? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So if it was 2/3 full, and after she takes a sip of the juice, the glass is 1/3 full, we can subtract that 1/3 to find out how much she drank. 2 minus 1 is 1. And then our denominator stays the same because we're saying 2/3 minus 1 of those thirds will still be 1/3. And there is our answer. Brianna has a glass that is 2/5 full of orange juice. After she takes a sip of the orange juice, the glass is 1/5 full. How much orange juice did Brianna drink? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So we have 2/5 minus 1/5 is equal to, well, 2 minus 1 is 1. So 1/5. Our answer is here. Emily is sewing a shirt. If she starts with 2/4 yards of fabric and she is left with 1/4 yards of fabric after making the shirt, How much fabric did Emily use on the shirt? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So we can take those 2/4 and subtract what she has left to find out what she used. 2/4 minus 1/4. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So 1/4 left. And 1/4 that she used. Haley began her pizza delivery route with 2/5 of a tank of gas in her car. When she made it back to the pizzeria, 1/5 of a tank of gas was left. How much gas did Haley use? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So we would have 2/5 minus the 1/5 she had left when she got back. So we can find out how much she used. 2 minus 1 is 1, and then our 5th stays the same, 1/5. At the start of the day, a diner has 5/6 of an apple pie. At the end of the day, the diner has 2/6 of the apple pie remaining. How much apple pie did the diner sell that day? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So 5/6 of a pie is how much they started with. And then now they have 2/6 left at the end of the day. So we can take away 2/6 to find out how much they sold. 5 minus 2 is 3, and our 6th stays the same. Now we need to see if we can reduce this fraction, and we can. We can divide the top by 3, and if we're dividing the top by 3, we have to divide the bottom by 3 so that the fraction still has the same value. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. In the freezer, Angela has 2/4 of a pint of ice cream. After eating ice cream while watching her favorite movie, there is 1/4 of a pint of ice cream remaining. How much ice cream did Angela eat during the movie? Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. So she had 2/4, and at the end she had 1/4. So let's subtract that 1/4 to find out how much she ate. 2 minus 1 is 1, and then our 4th stays the same, so 1/4. Amazing work today, friends.